Folks, welcome to Retro Reload. This is Spotted Tea Edition. I'm Dash V, and I've got my tea.
Alright, I'm a Turf. I don't have tea.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm T. Pugmire, and I also do not have tea.
And I am Lord Nikon, also known as Charles Wathen. Hello, everybody. And my water for my tea is still in the kettle.
So, folks, while Mr. Nikon tries to find his accent, we're going to be talking about a couple of news topics. In fact, this episode is all about news topics and tea. You can never really have enough tea. Tea is fantastic. But mostly we're going to be talking about news topics. So, Jeremy, if you want to do the honors of introducing the first news topic we're going to be talking about.
Is Xbox Live saving Silent Hill, or Xbox saving Silent Hill?
I know. So I read about this, right? So we all know that PT was pulled from PSN, right?
Yes.
That's like past news now. But what's really interesting is a lot of people took that to mean that Silent Hill was dead. No more, it's gone. And then when you hear Konami say, oh, we're going to do mobile games because, you know, it's easier to make money, etc. Well, that's crap, because obviously we're not going to get a mobile Silent Hill game. So what the hell? Does that mean it's all over? But now we hear maybe Microsoft has paid a ridiculous sum of money. I've heard like in the billions to maybe buy the IP outright and make it like a Microsoft-owned IP. And maybe now we'll be seeing it exclusive on Xbox, and there may even be, the rumor is that there's going to be an official announcement about it at upcoming E3. What are folks' thoughts about that? I mean, Jason, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, man. Honestly, why would they pay billions for something that it's not even really a popular franchise? I don't think. Silent Hills is. I mean, it's okay. It's middle of the road, but why would you pay billions?
Yeah, the number did seem pretty off for me. I mean, I don't even know that Resident Evil would be worth billions.
I mean, other than, what would Mario? He would be worth billions. What else?
Right.
Halo, maybe?
Well, yeah, exactly. And they've already got Halo, so, yeah.
Halo versus
So here's the question, though, right? So here's the question. Because the source, actually, we can provide a link down in a little doodly box later, but basically, the source seems to be fairly credible. It's a source that has predicted other things in the past that seemed unlikely, but then turned out to also be true. So the folks that have announced it, I don't remember if it was IGN or whoever. I'll put the link in down a little bit later, but they say that this is a really credible source. They trust them a lot. I trust the intel that Microsoft probably got Silent Hill and is bringing it to the Xbox, but I'm with you, Jason. I don't buy that they paid like $1 billion or more for it. That seems a little bit crazy for such a niche title like that.
And plus, yeah, they may very well bring it, which would be great, but I probably wouldn't play it because I've never played a Silent Hill game, but it's cool. People were really liking PT or liking the trailer, the playable trailer. Maybe it'll come. Maybe it'll be huge for them. But I just the billions kind of makes the whole thing seem kind of fishy.
Yeah, Mr. Nikon, Lord Nikon. I'm sorry, apologise. Lord
Yes.
Nikon, what is your thoughts on this?
I don't know, really. I've read a little bit about it, but it'd be nice to get this, franchise going again, but
I mean,
I don't know.
Peru, it would be nice to get it going, but I guess I'm just wondering, like, either they're going to do something like what they did with Halo, right? Well, I'm wondering if we're really going to see. Are we just going to see Silent Hills, like the game that they were going to make, or is Microsoft going to go in like they did with Halo and go, no, wait, stop a minute. If we're going to buy this, we're going to own it, and we're going to make it what we want to make it. And maybe they actually make it like a killer app, similar to what they did with Halo, right? Maybe Microsoft, I don't know, sees more in it, just like with Halo. I don't think anyone imagined that Halo would become, you know, the poster child of success for everything Microsoft, but it totally did. So if they could do the same thing with something like Silent Hill, you know, maybe that is worth $1 billion.
Yes, but $1 billion does seem like quite a bit.
It's a lot of tea, I can tell you that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Jeremy, what are your thoughts on this?
While I'm not a fan of Silent Hill or Xbox, I'm actually happy they're bringing it back because it did look like an interesting game. I did play PT. It did sort of freak me out. But I definitely think it's a good thing. Hopefully they didn't pay $1 billion for it because that is a steep price. But
Yeah.
We'll see at E3, which is in 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens then.
I definitely think E3 will be the deal. Talking about the rumor is that the game would release in March 2016.
That seems like
that news was very powerful. That news shook Jason to the very core. I mean, it was like a literal earthquake was taking place as he learned about a possible 2016 release.
that seems like a very short lead time.
Well, so from what I understand, right? So a couple things that we think we know from the rumor, right? Microsoft talks with Konami to buy Silent Hills as an exclusive for the Xbox One. Now, if the deal goes through, Microsoft would be announcing this at upcoming E3, and then the game would be coming out supposedly in 2016, with the amount apparently in at least $1 billion, possibly more. So, what is interesting here is if we take a less pessimistic look at it for a moment, which I think is easier to do, throw out the billions number. Somebody just probably pulled that out of their, you know, posterior. But if we ignore the money for a bit, suddenly it makes a lot of sense, right? If Konami is really moving to mobile, and mobile has no place for a game like Silent Hill, why would they keep the property? Why, when they could sell it and make, you know, maybe not $1 billion, but still oodles of money, right? I mean, there's lots of IPs like that that just aren't going to transfer to mobile. That why hold on to them if there's no future for them in your new vision of your company?
True, true.
I think it's great. I mean, if you take the money out of it and they actually did sell Silent Hill to Microsoft, that's fantastic. It'll keep it alive. Maybe, you know, fans will get what they want, possibly, and hopefully Microsoft puts out a good product with it. Maybe they can get everybody back on, get the team back on board to work. There's a lot of things that could happen. It could be great, but
Absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense though. That why would they hang on to it if they're not going to? Because it's not going to work on a little screen.
Right. Another thing that makes a lot of sense is, you know, it getting pulled from the PSN. So now, okay, obviously if you're going to cancel it, why still have the demo or the trailer or whatever on there? But still, there's no like burning need to like pull it down immediately or anything like that, right? So now, why not let it stay up a bit longer and let more people have time to get it and enjoy it? Unless, of course, the pulling of that game of the demo, right, is to show a good faith to Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft does not want to announce an Xbox exclusive at E3 that you can go download the demo for on PS4.
Maybe that's a sign of things to come. Maybe that was the, I don't know, a good faith, you know, like showing of good faith, like you said.
So, Tyler, any thoughts on this?
Not really. I don't really know much about it other than what you guys have said. I didn't really follow it that closely. I don't have a PS4 or an Xbox One, so I don't really care. But you know, I think it's a good thing. The interesting thing, though, that Lord Nikon brought up was you know, the lead time, and you brought up, you know, that if maybe they're going to make their own version of it, you know, so maybe that lead time is a sign of them using what was already done. Because the game, you know, they worked on it. They did something.
Yeah. Now,
you know, maybe that 2016 date is sort of encompassing what they've already done, and they're going to base it off of that. I don't know.
That could absolutely be. The other thing too is, you know, the PT, they didn't just release a trailer or demo. I mean, they actually released, like, you know, a pretty decent stab at, you know, this is what a game might look like. So certainly, yeah. I mean, there was something of an engine there, right? And it worked. From what I understand of the internals of the PS4 and of the Xbox One, they're very, very similar hardware-wise and software stack-wise. So it's not inconceivable that a lot of this game could have been pretty darn, you know, at least in prototype, beta playable stage before they made the decision of, you know, it's not going to go to PS4. It could even be that they'd been, you know, experimenting with cross-platform, you know, before they even entertained the thought of it being an Xbox exclusive. So the game may be pretty close. I agree with you. Maybe it's far-fetched to me to think that Microsoft is really going to kind of do some tailoring and tweaking to it like they did with, you know, Halo. But, you know, maybe the game is really almost complete, and they're just putting finishing touches on it. Because if they're looking to release it in, what was it, March, then chances are they're expecting they're going to have it done by, like, you know, February or April at least.
Yeah, I mean, if they're talking March, I mean, that's 9 months. You know, right?
Yeah. The other thing too, it wasn't a mistake when I mentioned April, right? The thing we need to keep in mind is that target dates nowadays rarely actually happen, right? So most games slip the dates when they don't have drama going on, like a major platform shift or a major publisher shift or something like that. So Microsoft coming in the mix, I wouldn't be surprised if the original 2016, if the date that we have for 2016 wasn't the original date that had been conceived, but maybe there's a different date now that Microsoft has it. So
at least around Halloween, that'd be like the perfect time to do it.
That would actually be the perfect time. So then we can all come back hopped up on sugar and just scare the crap out of each other.
Stay up all night.
So, but that wasn't the only interesting news that we actually had recently. There's been a lot of interesting news. There's another article I read on Polygon.com that was actually talking about Batman Arkham Knight, and this is a really interesting game. I wanted to get it. I wanted to get it for the PS4, even though I don't have a PS4. It was one of those games where I like the Arkham series in general, and I always waited. I never bought them when they first came out. I always waited for the Game of the Year includes everything edition, and certainly, you know, pre-release stuff, right? Pre-order stuff, and getting the little extra fiddly bits with your pre-order stuff is normal. But what's really odd, and this isn't the first game that's ever done it, but it's certainly, I think, one of the biggest name games that's doing it. Much like Infamous 2 when it came out, Batman Arkham Knight is going to be impossible to buy. You can't buy one single edition that has everything bundled with it. If you buy the Walmart bundle, you're missing certain bits. If you buy the Target bundle, you're missing other bits. If you buy the GameStop version, you get other bits, and then you miss the Walmart and the Target bits. So no matter what you get, really, you have to commit to missing out on something, because it's not, at least the way that I've read it, it's not that you don't get certain DLC, and then you have to go buy it. It's literally you don't have access to that DLC, period. You cannot, you get the game and it doesn't come with it. And then you can't even go online and buy it, at least not for the first, I don't know, year, whatever, however long it takes before they decide general public can consume it. So I'm just curious of what people's thoughts are on that. And Fighter Pilot, I'll let you go because I know you've fired off on this before. Like, what the hell? What are your thoughts on games being released that you can't even buy the complete game, no matter how much you may want to?
I find it extremely aggravating. Another game's doing this because if it sells, then it just encourages other companies to do it. And it's like, if you're going to split the game, then I want a discount. I'm not going to sit here and pay $60 for part of a game, and I can't get certain content, or I have to go, okay, well, if I want this, I have to buy it from Walmart. If I don't want it. But this one's better, I have to go to Best Buy.
And that's the thing, too. So I looked at the pricing, right? Because I get what you're saying, right? Hey, okay, maybe this one's $40, maybe this one's $50. So at least, like, you can feel, like, the value proposition, right? Like, how much content do I want to miss out on versus how much do I want to spend kind of thing. But when I was looking at these games, it's like, okay, so one edition is $99, the other edition is $99, and the other edition is $110. And it's like, dude, what the hell? So no matter what, I'm paying double what I would pay for a normal game, and every game is guaranteed to be missing something.
Let me guess, the GameStop version is $110.
I honestly don't remember which one was that one, but it just seemed like bollocks to me. It's like, I want to buy the whole thing, right? If you want, give me an edition where I can buy the whole thing, and I'll throw money. I'm throwing money at my screen, and nothing's happening.
It's really that much? Wow.
So,
like
yeah.
Car at full price, not getting the engine.
So,
It's like, car, but no engine. You need to buy that separately.
yeah. Now, I think, based on the previous Batman games, right, and based on things like Infamous and everything, which followed a similar formula, eventually there is that Game of the Year edition that comes out that includes everything, right? And it's usually like $40. So I guess the next question I'll ask is, how, Mr. Nikon, how do you feel as a consumer knowing that the industry is looking to screw the early adopter? And not in the fun, fabulous, I'd like to have a little bit more that way.
Alright. I think what they do is they know that there are going to be the super fans out there who are going to be waiting outside of Target, Best Buy, Walmart, whatever, to buy the game at midnight when it gets released. And they don't care how much they're paying for it.
Yeah.
Even though they know 5-6 months down the line, the game's going to be for sale for 30 quid. You know? But these people, they gotta be the first to have it. They gotta be the first to play it. But, you know, nothing wrong with that. But I think these people, they know that people are gonna do that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, that's not a new thing either. You know, I mean, you look at any game really, other than first-party Nintendo games that never drop in price for some reason. I mean, everything within 6 months is $40, $20.
yeah. So the only thing I can really wrap my brain around, right, is that this is clearly a move. Personally, right, if I think, like, what is the business case for this? Why would you do this? If it's obvious that people don't like paying more and getting less, right? What is the business case for doing this? And I think the business case is this, right? You've got GameStop, you've got Walmart, and you've got Target, among like Amazon and all that other stuff, right? These guys are in violent competition with each other. Each one of them has online outlets with various different degrees of success. Some of them have brick and mortar, some of them are only online. And I think there are really only two ways that you can really have it be a level, competitive playing field now. And that is if you do something like say, okay, look, Walmart, we'll give you this, this, and this. That way you don't feel like, you're getting shafted because, everybody's buying on Amazon. Look, Amazon, don't worry about it. We're going to give you something exclusive too, so the people that love to buy Amazon, want to buy Amazon, will still buy Amazon. And hey, if you guys are lucky, you'll get the idiots that'll actually buy every single edition. So, personally, I think it's a way for them to, I don't know if they get direct kickbacks from it so much as, I know that a lot of the retailers are actually going to war over, sales and stuff. I remember when the Retron 5 got released, totally different league as Batman, but there was a lot of really tension and confusion because Hyperkin made this decision that they were going to give the mom and pops first when we all pre-ordered from Amazon, but they didn't want to have Amazon right in their giant 600-pound gorilla mode buy up like half the consoles, and then the other half of the consoles are at like mom and pops that by the time you see them in the mom and pop, by the time you even know the mom and pop exists, much less see a Retron 5 in their store, you've already bought yours on Amazon. So I know that retailers and vendors will sometimes cater to the different marketplaces to try to make sure that nobody gets completely shafted. But I don't think Batman really falls into that same category. I don't think you're going to have a Walmart say, I'm not going to carry the Batman game because I don't think I got enough copies. They'll carry what they got.
No, I don't think that's unfair at all. I think you're right on the money. I mean, we're used to seeing things like retailer exclusive things. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You know, it's usually physical. But now it's kind of got into games, which it didn't used to be. You know, you get like the little pre-order bonus kind of thing. It was different to Target, different to Walmart, you know, etc. And now it's the actual game, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, the extra bit, right? It's like getting a box of Cracker Jacks, and the free prize inside is the box actually includes Cracker Jacks. So actually, if the makers of Cracker Jacks are out there listening, I'm filing patent on that very idea. So if you go off and do that, so you're gonna owe me some money.
Also sponsors.
So Jason, right? You can either side with us or play devil's advocate and stuff. I know that you're big into Nintendo, right? Original NES. So I mean, I'm also huge into NES. Nowhere near as big as you. I don't have the entire collection like you nearly do, but the games that I do have, I'm proud to say they're the complete games. You know, I don't get to like level 7 of Super Mario Brothers and find out, oh, sorry, I got the Target edition, so I'm not gonna be able to save Princess. That castle's not included.
Sorry, Mario, this castle's not included.
Yeah, sorry, Mario, but your princess is in a different DLC castle.
That will be $3.99, and you can have the princess. Back in the day, you had to get a complete game. Now we have patches. There's day one patches. They're going to fix bugs, but I think people are overreacting a little bit because, you know, a while ago, Jeremy said that this is like a car and not getting the engine. I really think that this is more like my car and not getting the couple. It's another piece. I mean, it's fully functional without it. You're not buying something that doesn't work. So you may not get the high-end edition of this. I mean, you have to pay extra for leather when you buy a car, so you pay extra. These are the leather of the games.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying extras. You're not paying for meat and potatoes. You're not paying for engines. You're paying for the extras, for the power, for the interest.
Okay, I can buy that. I guess. For me, the reason why I guess I take it a little bit more personally is because as a collector, or Tyler, right, as a archival, minded person, right, to know that I'll never be able to really capture the full experience of the game in a way that's maintainable, right? I might even go on to buy if the other content gets unlocked at some point and you can go download it either free or pay into it, right? I know that any of the DLC I have on my PS3 is only viable for as long as there's a PSN that supports those PS3 DLC downloads. So the game that I came to know as Tomb Raider, with all the patches and the DLC, etc., is going to be a very different game when I go to play it 30 years from now and I can't download any of that DLC. The controls may not be as tight because of some of the bugs and patches that are missing, or present because of the state of how it released. There may be certain areas of the game that are locked off because of a game-breaking bug that was only fixed through a download. Or there may be like entire levels, characters, costumes, etc. that are no longer accessible because I just can't go to the server and download them. So
yeah, but that goes back into what we were talking about last episode, I believe. Was just about the DLC, just how things are going. And so, I mean, I think it's related, but it's a totally different thing.
Yeah. And I do agree that the perspective changes. You know, as a gamer, I don't really... I'm not as annoyed, right? As a gamer, I can kind of... I try to make sure before I purchase it that I know what is and isn't included. And if I'm not happy with the trade-off, I just don't buy the game. Or I wait until the cost, value ratio comes up. Like, I won't buy Arkham brand new, as an early adopter, but I'll wait until all the DLCs in the Game of the Year edition, and then I'll buy that. So I'm willing to wait like the extra year, 2 years, whatever. With a game like Tomb Raider or something, I understand that I better enjoy the content now, and at least I have the memory of what it was. Maybe I'll be able to get a taste or a flavoring of it later on, but I'll never be able to do the full experience. So if it's a game where I want the full experience, sometimes I best not wait. But the collector in me is always like, damn, I can never have the real complete thing. I'm always gonna have some broken halfway, partway there thing. And that's a bummer.
Well, the other thing is, when you're talking about the different DLCs, the different stores, I think that if there's money to be made, they're going to do it. You know, I mean, I don't think it's going to be too far-fetched to assume that, you know, a year later, you're going to be able to download the GameStop content and the Target content or whatever they got first. You get it later, but you're still going to get it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I actually did, you're correct. Yeah, you're correct. And I actually did that for Tomb Raider. I think I showed it off before. I'm going to break the illusion a little bit. I'm actually only wearing the suit from the top up, so I'm actually in blue jeans.
Oh, for sure.
Look at this! I got the whole thing on here. Look at this.
I know. I'm full of it. I'm full of it.
Bloody rubbish!
But I actually did get... I did end up getting the collector's edition in the tin, and I did end up actually getting the Target exclusive edition. But, key thing here, both of these, right, I actually got both of these for half what, let me see, I think it's in here. I got both those for half what the normal edition, not special, not pre-ordered, whatever, retailed for. Because I bought them all used. I went to a local mom and pop shop and I got, you know, so for what, half of what it would have cost to have bought this new, I got all the other stuff. So you're right, Tyler, absolutely right. You know, if you're really determined, I guess, for some of these things, right, you can actually go back and you can find it later on. You can buy up all the different editions, assuming that a scalper hasn't gotten them and jacked up the price to something crazy. But then there's going to be certain, you know, certain things like the orange box edition of Half-Life for the PS3. You're never going to be able to get a non-broken version of that game on PS3 in physical form. There's just the broken, glitchy, unstable mess that was the official release, and if you want anything even remotely playable out of it, you've got to have the server live, you've got to be able to download the patches, and that makes it palpable. So...
Yeah, well, I was talking more about the actual DLC being downloaded after that.
In what sense, though?
Well, you said that, you know, there's a different version of Arkham for, you know,
yeah, there's actually many different...
Walmart, Target, whatever. And so you buy one of them.
There's actually 6 different editions of this Batman game.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the GameStop exclusive, there is the Best Buy exclusive, the Walmart exclusive, the Steam exclusive, and then the limited edition.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So say you buy the one from GameStop, for example.
Right.
And then, you know, 6 months to a year later, the developer, I can't think of who it is right now, they decide, you know, hey, there's money we can make. We'll just have to have this available for download that we gave to these guys before. We're going to give it to you now.
Oh, yeah, that does certainly happen, right? That does certainly happen, but there's no guarantee. Sometimes it doesn't.
No, there's not.
Yeah, so... but yeah, so the GameStop version, that includes the Red Hood story pack, which gives you access to the Red Hood story missions, and you can play as Red Hood. So there's a playable character, and there's actual levels in the game that you can only do in the GameStop version, initially anyway. The Best Buy exclusive, you get the Wayne Tech Booster Pack. What it is it's a series of weapon and melee abilities that you can only get and unlock in that particular version. The Walmart exclusive, you've got 4 exclusive maps where you can play as Harley Quinn. And you get a unique Batmobile that can do magical things only that it can do in that version. You've got a Steam exclusive, which has got a different skin for the city of Gotham. You got a Dark Knight Returns costume and a Batman Beyond costume. So the limited edition has a steelbook, art book, comic book, skin pack, limited edition Batman statue. If I had to choose between them, I'm with you, Tyler. I would pick the limited edition one, or the Batmobile edition one, because it comes with actual physical stuffs that you can't get, otherwise. And so I'm a fan of the physical stuffs that get included. So they can be kind of fun sometimes, right? And you're right. By and large, the DLC eventually comes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if they decide there's money to be made, they're going to do it.
Yeah, or money being lost, right? So if they think they're not selling enough because not enough people are actually, buying into it, then they can always sweeten the pot by saying, hey, buy now, get this DLC. They actually did that with Infamous. Not that it didn't sell well, but once everyone had kind of, it hit the bestseller list, they knew that they could print money when printing copies of the game. I think it was after like a year or 2 years. There was some DLC that the pre-order people got. The gigawatt blades, you can actually form blades of lightning, and you could like cut people and pick them up and throw them and stuff, Baraka style. It was actually pretty sweet. But I didn't pre-order it, so I never had it. And then suddenly I got this little message that, hey, there's free DLC now. And I was actually able to go download it. The only problem was by that time I'd already beaten the game. So here was this fabulous content that in this case, it didn't really add to the replayability enough for me to be able to actually enjoy the content, because I'd already experienced the game. So who wants to run around a game that they've already beat and just stab people with blades? Jason, do you want to speak to that?
No, I mean, I honestly wasn't paying attention.
I was just wondering if you like to run around stabbing people with electric blades, maybe in campsites or something.
I get to daydreaming if you said the gigawatt blades. I was thinking I don't have 1.21 of those. That's just how much works.
That would be that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. So that was a little spiel on Batman. Mr. Nikon, Lord Nikon, my goodness.
Yes.
Anything that you want to add to that?
I was asking if you have 1.21 gigawatt blades of lightning, and you're running at 88 miles per hour when you go back in time.
That is really a really interesting theorem. I think in order to answer that question, we first need to know every single NES title that's ever been released. So.
Yes.
So there's some kind of linkage.
Capacitor makes it possible.
The flux capacitor is definitely an element in it, but I still think that the NES, is somehow the magical toaster somehow. Otherwise, you're just gonna show up there and there'll be like a blue screen and it'll flink on and off. It'll be terrible, and then you'll have to take the flux capacitor out and put it in, but at a weird angle, and then you'll have to turn it off and then on again, and then it just doesn't work.
Or blow it.
So yeah, it'll blow on the flux capacitor, right, and then it will suddenly, right, give it a little smack, and then maybe work.
Shift it to the right, shift to the left.
We kind of lost our way, but the next news item that we wanted to talk about, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with Nvidia. Released the Shield gaming device, right? They've come out with a couple things. They've come out with a tablet, they've come out with a controller that actually has a screen that flips out, which you can also hook it into your telly using HDMI. So more recently though, they've actually come out with, this is pretty cool, an Android TV. And this one can supposedly not only play Android games and stream your games from your PC to your TV, but it also does 4K video streaming. So it looks like they're going after, looks like they're going after the actual, gaming market. So I guess the thing that I want to throw out to you guys, do you think Nvidia has a chance in hell of competing with the likes of Xbox One or PlayStation 4? And do you think that they're even attempting to, or if this is just them kind of towing the water, let's see if we can get multimedia PCs in people's living rooms. So, Jeremy, I see you shaking your head, so throw down. What are your thoughts on this?
Enough about it. Give an opinion.
No?
Uh,
All right, Tyler, what do you think?
I don't really know much about it either. I think it's interesting. You know, I mean, without knowing a whole lot more about it, I can't really say. But it does. From
Well,
what
I mean,
I
just
get,
give me your thoughts on the general premise, though, right? I mean,
well, that's what I'm getting.
is Nvidia, right? Do they have the money, and do they have the clout with game developers? Do you think, just hypothetically, that if they released a box that had comparable specs to the Xbox One or the PS4, that they'd stand a chance in hell?
I don't know.
Jason, what are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I read the article on this. I tried, and I'm not computer savvy or smart enough to really understand 99% of it. But from the best thing that I can gather from it is pretty much an Apple TV, that games, and like you said, it streams 4K. It's pretty impressive. I mean, I may be completely wrong. I don't have idea going away from physical, strictly the streaming, but I was definitely looking on board. They had some Fox PS3 screenshot thing, and it looked good. And if you can stream something, and it was $299, and a lot of it's subscription. I mean, you do a subscription service of that for, I don't know, $15, $20. That
Yeah, everything about it just screamed of like, wow, this could actually be. One of the things that occurred to me is like, if they do their marketing correctly, this could be like the Wii when the Wii came out. Not in necessarily the whole like, oh my goodness, this is so new, but I think some of the things that Nintendo did incredibly well with the Wii is Nintendo's strategy. They made it clear, the Wii, not the Wii U. They made it clear that the strategy with the Wii was, look, we're not going to make you choose Xbox 360 over Wii. We're not going to make you pick PS3 over the Wii. You're going to pick PS3 or 360, and then you're also going to get a Wii because it's just that damn cheap. It's just that damn accessible. And Nvidia, when I look at the specs on the device, it's not overpowered, but is definitely specialized for games and for media. And specifically, they throw out the whole, like you said, like, screw physical, right? Let's just throw down digital, right? We're not the most powerful console, but you know what probably is? That kick-ass PC that you got up in the loft. So, tell you what, how about we just stream your games from that to your living room telly where you really want to play them anyway? And oh, by the way, to sweeten the deal, it's going to be a $200 console, and we're going to bundle in a game controller with it.
So, is this like an Android thing, or is this just something else? I have no idea.
Yeah, it actually has. So I've got it up right now. So it's an Android box, right? So it's the Shield Android TV, right? And it comes with an actual Nvidia Shield gaming controller. So you've actually got a game controller that you use to control this set-top box. So number one, and if you want to buy the remote control, they've got an actual like telly-like looking remote control. That's $50. So they spun the paradigm on its head. They said, instead of us giving you a set-top box and giving you a telly remote, we're going to actually give you a set-top box that can play games, and the remote is a game controller. So they've basically handed you gaming, right? But they've tied it to investments that you've already had. So if you want to be primarily PC gamer, there's no reason that you have to buy a damn thing other than the box, plug it into your telly, and then start streaming games from your Nvidia chipset computer down to the actual telly, and now you're playing Crysis 3 in 1080 glory on your television from your upstairs machine. So it looks like the price is right. It looks like the tech was powerful enough to be competitive but wasn't trying to just be a knockoff of Xbox One or PS4, so it doesn't have the price tag associated with trying to copy, because they're still trying to play games off the physical disc.
Yeah, so they won't have their own games. You'll just be streaming whatever you have on your TV.
Well, and what other games are available on the Android platform natively, right? Because Android does have Google. They have a store where you can go and you can buy apps and stuff like that. So, you know, emulators, things like that, right, become really pretty easy to do. So you can still have games on the device. In fact, there's a version of the device if you want to pay more money. There's a version of the device that actually comes with like a 500 gigabyte hard drive. That one's more than $200. But it really depends on how much do you want to pay for this system. So personally, I think where I think they're going to be hurt is Nvidia. I think you kind of hit on it, Tyler. Is I don't think they're going to have the exclusives that Sony and Microsoft are so good at procuring. Right? They're going to have whatever's available on the PC or the Android store. It's not going to be like this game brought to you by, you know, this publisher that tag team with Nvidia specifically for Android TV. That's probably not going to happen. But what will happen is, you know, games like Double Dragon Neon that you're able to buy on Steam. You'll be able to stream that from your PC to your living room telly long after it's been dead on the PlayStation 4 or the PlayStation 3 store.
See, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And that's kind of what I was getting at, just to kind of understand what it actually is.
Yeah.
Because anytime I hear like about a device that says like you can play games, you know, we're not meant for games, but you can.
Yeah.
It brings you back to like the CDs.
Yes.
It's like,
yes.
Well, we built this thing and it plays games, sort of. You know.
And they could definitely. You're absolutely right, and they could definitely fall into that trap because part of the biggest draw for the console could also be its greatest weakness, right? If they are totally dependent on the blockbuster titles of the actual PC platform to hold up, are enough people on the PC platform gonna know about the Android TV?
And are they going to care?
To actually move over. Yeah, exactly. Or they're just going to say, screw it. If I want my, you know, my video card's got HDMI out. If I want to play games on the telly, I'll just plug the computer into the telly. I wouldn't do that, but I'm sure there's plenty of other people, LAN party people and that kind of stuff, who already do. So certainly Coleco, right, back in the day, to go back to the retro stuff, I think Coleco thought that they were doing themselves a huge favor when they made the adapter that would let them play the Atari 2600 library on their ColecoVision. But all they did was solidify, if you buy into Atari 2600, you've got multiple venues to play your games. You've got the 7800, you've got the 2600, you've got the ColecoVision with the adapter. So am I going to buy just a ColecoVision, which it's only a ColecoVision unless I buy other stuff, and then what is it? Oh, it's an Atari 2600. Well, if I want to play that, why don't I just go play that?
It's true.
So I think sometimes being more open of a platform, because I've grappled with this for a while, right? Why is Nintendo? Why is Sony? Why is Microsoft? Even when a game comes out that's like cross-platform, how many games can you think of that are cross-platform where the multiplayer even is cross-platform? They wall garden the whole damn thing, generally speaking. And I think the reason for that is because if we make it so it's immaterial which console you get, in a certain way we tell you, don't buy our console. Doesn't matter. So why would I buy? Why would I be compelled to buy a console if you yourself don't think it matters which console I get? So it kind of sucks, you know, because as a gamer you want the more openness, you want the greater variety and everything, and the more inclusion of your friends, regardless of their platform. But I can definitely see the business case for we have to make you want a PS3, we have to make you want PS4, and we have to say, damn it, either you really want it or you don't. Decide. Because Infamous is only coming out here. Or, you know, Silent Hills is only coming out here. That kind of thing. So as much as we hate those exclusives, I can definitely see the business incentive for doing them. I think they're critical to a console's success. So while I think Nvidia has the money, I think they have the technology and the smarts, and it's a hell of a box. I'll probably end up owning one. I don't know that it's going to be the Wii that I wish it was, because unlike Nintendo, they don't have a huge catalog of their own IP that will really compel me to go to their platform and stay there.
Yeah, it seems like it's more like an accessory than a console.
Yeah. So, Mr. Nikon, what do you think? Good Mortal Kombat box?
Was it good for Mortal Kombat?
Maybe get the PC version, use Cassie Cage and do some nut busting.
That'd be fun.
A spot of nut busting.
Yeah, I don't know about it. It's interesting. I don't know about it. It'd be nice to see what comes out, and you get to buy it and see how it actually works. You know, the 4K streaming is interesting. There's not too much more 4K right now.
You can watch all 4 4K movies in existence with this box.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually what I thought. Was like, wow, man, I should get one of those because then I can watch 4K movies in 1080p. Yeah, it doesn't quite work out. So there also might be a little bit of it. It's too soon, and I put the CDI solidly in this category. I think things like the CDI and the 3DO were so damn revolutionary. They were so ahead of their time from a hardware perspective. Both consumers and developers just didn't get it yet. You had developers going, why is this here? Why do I have all this? I don't even know how to use it all. And then you've got consumers going, this is all it can do? This is the next generation? Seriously? I'm not impressed. So
yes,
I think it's a hell of a console, but I'm not sure if it's going to actually, you know, make a dent.
You can play Candy Crush Saga in full 1080.
So the final bit that we have for today's news. So, Jeremy, you want to talk to us a little bit about there's a possible Fallout 4 announcement going to be released. Can you elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, so this morning I woke up about 7:10 and I was on Facebook checking everything, and all of a sudden I see something interesting. I'll screen share my screen.
Okay, I'm going to set it to your cheery mug.
So it has I don't know if you can see it right now, a 24-hour countdown at 9 hours.
Oh, okay.
Right now, I'm speculating this is going to fall in some way. So it's Fallout 4, my favorite series. I can hear myself. After much hype train, I'm on a hype train. I'm ready to go. I'm going to get up early tomorrow, see if I'm going to be disappointed, and go back to bed.
You won't see him the whole, like, for months. You will not see him because...
When Fallout 4 comes back, you're going to see me for a couple months.
So it definitely did have that Fallout kind of look, the whole, you know, neo-retro type, you know, World War II era.
War apocalypse.
Yeah, so, what do you think a Fallout 4 will look like? Do you think they're going to go exclusively next-gen on this, or do you think they're going to give those of us stragglers on PS3 and Xbox 360 a shot still?
I mean, just because I care about my fellow gamers, I hope it goes to last gen. I see it going to on PS4 and Xbox.
Yeah. I actually picked up my first current gen title 2 days ago at the store. Actually, 3 days ago, I think. Saturday. Yeah.
But I'm currently unemployed, but I got a card for Christmas. I was like, I'm saving money because I know something good's going to happen.
You're saving all your love for Fallout 4.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah. So, well, the title that I bought, I found it is $20 at Walmart. I finally got Infamous Second Son for the PS4.
You would.
So I do not. Yeah, big surprise, right? So it was either that or like I didn't know there was a new Blaster Master for next gen. So there's not, but half expect me to say something like that. So
for you.
Yeah, so I got Infamous Second Son. I also found out you can get First Light if you buy the PAL edition, or you can either get it from Europe or you can get it from Japan. Obviously, the Europe one is in English, so that's the one that I'll be going with. But yeah, so that way I can actually own the whole entire Infamous saga. I'm probably gonna wait until I have 5 solid titles before I actually get the. I'm sorry, I'm distracted by little chats happening in the windows below.
If you want about for PS4, I'll send you free once you have your system. I have an extra copy.
What was that?
I have an extra copy of PS4 for PS4.
Yeah.
Once you get your PS4, I'll send it if you want it.
Oh, okay, definitely. So I think I'm gonna end up getting Tomb Raider Remastered, or Definitive Edition rather. I'm gonna end up getting that. I'm gonna get First Light. I've already got Second Son. I'm gonna get The Last of Us Remastered, and then I'm not really sure, but once I hit the magical number there, then I'll actually pop for a PS4.
I say GTA 5.
GTA 5. Well, yeah, there's reasons. I don't know. That's not. I want my kid to see me playing that game.
I got the game for. This is what you go buy.
Yeah.
Squad. Not even joking. It's like $20. It's like $20.
Which game?
Super Putty Squad.
Super Putty Squad. So that's for the PS4.
Yeah. PS4. It's one of the two.
So now, what kind of a game is that?
It's a puzzle platformer, kind of like in the vein of, I'd say, well, the other Super Putty games and Lost Vikings, something like that.
Oh, it's like Lost Vikings.
Except you only have one character. It's like a puzzle platformer.
Gotcha. So it's would you say then it almost sounds like Lost Vikings mixed with Boy and His Blob?
That's a very good way of putting it.
Okay, that actually intrigues me a lot. I'll actually take a look into that game. So maybe that's number 5. So maybe that's number 5. I haven't really been impressed with. I've got a PlayStation Plus membership, but I'll be honest with you. The last 3 months, I haven't really been impressed with the releases. It seems like they've been releasing the whole well, here's something you'd find on your iPhone. Check it out on a next-gen console. It's been a lot of mini games, casual gaming type fare, so it's kind of disappointed. But all right. Normally we have a special little segment at the end. However, this episode we also have a special segment, but a special in a different way. So I've alluded to the fact, right, that sometimes we have a little bit of a song, that kind of thing, and so. I thought, this time I would actually maybe sing you guys a song.
Oh, what song would you sing?
I might need some help. I might need some help, though, from Mr. Nikon, Lord Nikon.
I'll see if I can do that.
So the song begins, chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiroo. I plays what I like, and that's Mortal Kombat 2. Chim chimney, chim chimney, chim chim chiree. Lord Nikon, would you like to play SMB3 with me?
Yes.
Alright, so, folks, this has been Retro Reload, Tea Time for the Soul Edition by Douglas Adams. We want to thank you very much for tuning in. If your ears are not bleeding from our terrible British accents, we'd like to ask you to tune in again next time. Well, maybe we'll even have worse accents from some other place that we don't really know that much about. And maybe we'll talk about other news items that we barely know anything about as well.
Right.
So, as it turns out, all game statistics, 90% of them, made up on the fly. So if you remember that, you'll be okay. So, folks, this has been Retro Reload, and...
No.
Chim Chimney Chiroo.
Alright,